I'm Bella Baxter.
Live from a vinyl patch that doesn't, and a blue-green towel.
See what? Are they references to the actual movie?
No, they're references to what we're sitting on.
Oh, yes, good. One out vinyl and a blue towel.
Colin had a problem and a microphone to spare. Thomas took it up and so the podcast went to air. For weeks and months they trolled through every single DVD. They've unwrapped all the ones they can and now they're cellulose free. Now they're cellulose free.
Hello, dear listener, and welcome to Cellulose Free. My name is Colin, and with me, as always, is my fellow film watcher, compadre and son, Thomas.
Hi, hello.
What have you been up to?
I did what I said I was going to do, and I played all 96 tracks of Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, plus the booster course pack, booster course pass. It took like 5 hours. It was certainly a thing that I intended to do and then did.
Wow.
And my hands did not hurt afterwards, so mission accomplished, I suppose.
Do you feel a feeling of accomplishment?
I certainly accomplished the task I intended to.
Oh, we really should have set up a webcam and we could have streamed it live.
Yeah, but then we'd also want to capture the...
Oh, yeah.
And we'd have to go out and get something to do that, and capture cards aren't cheap.
No, they never have been, even in the bad old days where you're trying to capture composite video. They were never cheap, but oh well.
And then, yeah, I did it basically the day we recorded.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, or the day up. It was one of the two. It was then or the day after. And since then, I have had pizza, like regular pizza on a pizza base, and tortilla pizza, which is very thin, but does work, and pizza toast, which was alright, but could have done with bacon, but there wasn't any bacon left, so it was just cabanossi. And
So you've used all the cabanossi now?
No, I used most of what was left of the cabanossi, and then Mum told me, yeah, I'm probably gonna throw out the rest tomorrow.
Yeah.
And she did.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Did you have any salami on it as well?
No.
No. Ooh.
What?
How dare I dare even suggest that? There was some pineapple in the cupboard. You could have had pineapple on your pizza.
The worst thing that can possibly befall an Italian pizza.
Hey, look, I've been learning some home truths about this mythical Italian cuisine tradition type of deal. Did you know, for example, that carbonara is younger than my parents?
Right.
Yeah. So the first mention of carbonara in any recipe books or any newspapers, anything like that, is 1949. So the very end of the war, and they suspect that it was an ad hoc thing that they were using US Army rations of canned bacon and egg, and thus carbonara was invented. So it isn't an age-old recipe. And in fact, up until the fascist regime, around-ish the same time, a bit before, pasta was not an international dish. There were certainly areas that used pasta, but it wasn't until the fascists opened up factories that manufactured pasta that it became somewhat more Italian universal. So all of these recipes that everyone swears that their grandmother's grandmother has passed on are very, very new inventions as far as the timeline of food history is concerned. And so, yeah, this namby-pambyism of not having pineapple on pizza is, it's history washing, because the things that everyone else sticks on pizza, you would not find in regional areas of Italy anyway. So, yeah. Anyway, I digress. I will continue to have pineapple on my pizza and enjoy it.
I don't care. I just wanted to reference a challenge from a recent season of Belgian Mole, in which, first of all, they had to acquire pizza ingredients in various silly ways,
Mm-hmm.
and then whoever was left to do the job would have to take the pizzas on a long, pizza pole, whatever it's called, through the streets of this Sicilian town down to a table where they got pizzas that weren't cold and
Good.
and had a nice meal.
Right.
All the while, production members throwing bits of pineapple down from the buildings around them.
Okay.
And of course, if pineapple touches your pizza or it hits the ground, then you failed and you don't get to participate.
Yeah. Anyway.
And at some point I should go and get an eye test, but I need to find out some information from other people about how I go about doing that.
Yes. I will just photocopy the card.
Yeah. Not that I'm actually intending to get any new glasses. I am perfectly happy with the ones that I have.
Right.
But yeah, that's
We'll sort this out off camera.
That's what's going on with me. What's going on with
For
you?
our video podcast viewers, we'll deal with that off camera. For our listeners, our non-visually watching... Anyway, I'm tired. I've been walking a lot, Thomas,
Yeah?
and I'm very weary and somewhat exhausted, but it is doing me good both physically and mentally, and that is a plus. I did complete the thing that I was hoping to finish that I mentioned last week.
Oh, yeah?
So that was a big blog post venting my spleen. And it has taken up some traction.
Mm-hmm.
And
It has been interesting watching the discourse in this city from the sidelines, because some of it, by, even prominent members of the community, it's just personal attacks.
Yeah.
And that's not great.
yeah, I admit that my blog was somewhat of a personal attack, but I think as far as the jab and jibe that he was taking was not justified.
Mm-hmm.
And I think I gave a reasonable set of examples as to why it wasn't justified and its relevance as such. And I think now anywhere that anyone suggests that a certain piece of land, just because no one's there when you're there, doesn't mean that it doesn't get used.
And we have the questions for the elector poll.
We do.
And they're clear and simple. And that's about all I could have asked for.
Yeah, I could have asked for a little bit more. I would have suggested, and it is the fault of the people who started the petition for the elect poll that neglected to be a little more succinct in that it creates some vagary as to it's here, it's there, or it's nothing, is currently the...
Well, I don't disagree.
Oh.
I think it is here, there, or nothing.
No, I do agree. There are, and I visited some of these places.
From a council-relevant perspective, it is here, there, or nowhere.
No, I visited some council places that would have been completely satisfactory if you look at the other high-performance centres that are used by other AFL teams in Australia. The AFL is really getting us over a barrel and trying to get the extreme most of what they can get out of us. And, yeah, I disagree, Thomas.
Well, okay then.
I certainly visited one place in particular that certainly would have fit the bill, with a lot more already existing flatness to begin with. And yeah. So, no, you're wrong. Anyway.
So those will be mailed out starting from this time next week.
Yeah.
And then I'll put no in each box and send it back.
Exactly.
And
One of the other things, as far as part of that walk is concerned, is that I've made sure that where possible, I have been ending up at the two parks in question and throwing a flying disc around.
Right.
Up and down. So I'm getting more steps in, and I'm also physically using the place just as my little protest, I guess.
I hear you have also attempted to fix a hose.
No, I didn't attempt to fix a hose. I threw out a hose.
Oh.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah, no. Once a hose that has been in the front yard for many, many, many years being exposed to the elephants, it gets exposed to a very cold elephant of late, causing said hose to split whilst the wife is trying to run water onto a frosted over windscreen. Once a hose like that splits, you don't try taping it up or anything like that. So for the time being, I have removed and disposed of said hose and replaced it with the one from the backyard, which very, very rarely gets used, but is also about the same age. So it's just biding time until I head off to a warehouse,
Bunnings?
Well, no, I wasn't going to name companies.
Other home improvement stores.
Yeah, a home
available.
improvement store. That was what I was looking for. A home improvement store to get a new hose. Anyway, let's watch a movie. Sorry, you were going to add something?
What are the alternatives, though?
There's still a Mitre 10.
Okay.
I could get one from Kmart or Big
Yeah.
W. So there are certainly alternatives. Even garden centres would carry them for an exorbitant price. Speaking of which is completely unrelated, did you read that Booktopia has gone into receivership?
It's collapsed.
Yep, shamefully. That there is absolutely no justification for that company to collapse, apart from gross mismanagement, which everyone is pointing their finger at.
It barely even keeps any stock in warehouses. It just orders things from elsewhere.
Well, that is partly true. They opened up a $12 million robotic warehouse last year that has had major teething problems, that was meant to save the money but hasn't. But they also supply pretty much all of the universities with their textbooks. Sorry, they don't supply the universities with, they supply the students.
Yeah.
You know, the universities have jumped on board and said, oh, well, this is a weight off our shoulders.
Yeah.
And this company will now supply our students with textbooks. And yeah, so they're going to have some fun if the receivers cannot make the place function.
Do you think they might finally kill the Angus and Robertson brand?
I must admit, I had thought that brand had gone until only a couple of years ago, where I found out myself that they had bought the brand and were running both companies parallel from the same warehouses. And it was possibly a good idea, but yeah, I suspect that Angus and Robertson will go. I mean, it's a name only and a website only, so who knows what's going to happen. Isn't this enthralling stuff, dear listener? Let's watch this movie. What are we watching this week?
We are watching Galaxy Quest.
Now, I have a plot synopsis in front of me, unless you have a plot synopsis in front of you.
Well, mine is just one sentence long. Is yours longer than one
sentence?
sentence?
Oh, mine's a lot longer. Let's go for the one sentence long plot synopsis because, yeah, the one off the back of the DVD is quite lengthy and exposes the whole plot to everyone.
Decades after the success of a sci-fi series, the show's washed-up stars are recruited by actual aliens to pull off an intergalactic rescue mission.
That's much better. That's what we're going to watch. We're going to watch it on a streaming service, so Thomas is not going to open a case.
No. I refuse.
He's not going to put any discs into any machines. I am going to turn the TV on and find that streaming service. We're going to... I need some sleep. Roll the tape. We'll catch you on the flip side.
Turn to side B.
No, and I don't even have a mongrel for you.
No.
I'm all mongreled out. You will not hear the word mongrel emanate from my lips.
No.
No,
From now.
This will be a mongrel-free zone.
From now?
From now.
Great.
You mongrel. So, what did you think?
Yeah, it's pretty good, isn't it?
It is.
It's not groundbreaking,
No.
but then when it's spoofing
Yeah.
Star Trek, which did all manner of things, what ground is there left to break, really?
Yeah, and it really did riff very much. It's definitely Star Trek. I mean, there are certainly other that one could suggest, but nah. No, this is Star Trek. This is the Star Trek fandom that it's gently mocking. But I've been to a smallish Doctor Who convention, and that's the only thing that I can draw from as far as face-to-face. And they nail the obsessiveness and the detail analysing that doesn't make any sense.
We've got the slow exit from dry dock.
Yeah, that was actually the first note that I made, which is, the film has progressed a fair bit before I made a note, and that was the space dock departure. And you couldn't say shot for shot Star Trek the Motion Picture or any of the other space dock departures, but it was just spot on and done very, very well.
Yeah, and you've got your... Okay, so every Star Trek episode needs to either be in a quarry or in a very orange canyon somewhere in the 20-mile zone around Los Angeles, or some specific rocks that we keep using on set.
On set, yeah. To be brutally honest, most of Star Trek, in all versions of it, they only really went outdoors to film, and most of it was filmed on a set that was set dressed differently each. I say differently, but it was...
Make the greenery a slightly different shade of green.
That's right.
Or make it purple.
Yeah.
It's purple this week.
But Tim Allen just absolutely nails Shatner without... I was going to say without being Shatner, but he was.
Yeah.
And they absolutely nail the loss of the shirt, the sitting in a captain-type way.
The years later self-importance.
It was good. It was good. It certainly has its weak moments where the momentum sort of lags a bit and then it picks it up. So... Not a perfect film, but a wonderful film.
Yeah, and the aliens talking a little weird. Where's just a little fin towards the end?
Oh, I don't know about that.
I do. I do know about that.
The other thing that they really nailed was the soundtrack. Specifically when there's the moments of peril and the drama. And I went for a little dive as the credits were rolling to look into the composer. And his name is David Newman. He's a Newman.
Yep.
Cousin of Randy Newman. His father composed the 20th Century Fox fanfare.
Yep.
And David recomposed it in 1997 and 1998, I guess, to make it more fanfare-ish. I don't know.
I suspect it would have coincided with some sort of logo
One of it
refresh.
was for the reopening of a section of studio, I think. He played violin in a number of John Williams's recording sessions in LA during the late 70s, early 80s, played violin. And interestingly, he was nominated for a best, the score.
Best score.
Best score. Yeah, went blank. Best score for the Don Bluth Anastasia soundtrack, which is interesting because back in 1957, his dad was also nominated for the live-action version, the soundtrack of Anastasia.
Right.
Yeah, so quite bizarre. So there's some factoids for you.
Sorry, best original score.
Yes.
They.
That was the word that I was...
Yeah.
I'm running on empty, Thomas.
Yeah.
I enjoyed it. Kids enjoyed it, which is kind of bizarre. They've certainly had the Doctor Who influence. That's probably been their strongest sci-fi influence. They haven't really been exposed to Star Trek of any kind, even though it's on the shelf. All of it's on the shelf, apart from some of the newer stuff.
Yeah. Every few years, Paramount goes back to it for a few years.
Yeah.
At the moment, I think we're progressing towards the tail end of one of those periods.
Yes.
Everything's slowly wrapping up, and I think they want to do films again.
Yeah. Yep. I'm down with that.
Yeah.
As long as it doesn't go down the Discovery direction.
Apparently, it gets very different in the later seasons. Unfortunately, those later seasons are on Paramount Plus, and I'm not interested.
No. Maybe we'll wait till it's all wrapped up, and then we'll use up the 30-day free trial and just binge.
I'll happily binge.
A big crazy binge that will. Yeah. All right. Well, do you have anything else to mention about Galaxy Quest?
Did I have anything else to...
I don't know.
No, I don't think I did.
All the characters nail their parts brilliantly. Getting a very definite Snape vibe on occasion from lines being delivered.
Well,
anyway.
It's Alan Rickman.
It is. All right. Well, if you ain't got nothing.
Nope.
All right. We shall move on then.
The following segment has no title. Thank you.
And we will start over on Discord with a conversation between Entos Feratu and Eve Pie.
Yes. As I try to read it on my phone.
I made it as thin as I was willing to.
Yep. Okay, I've got it side on.
Entos Feratu says, from personal experience, worse than Bud, Pop or Pops is bruh.
Bruh. Yeah.
Eve Pie says, listening...
Oh, hang on. We're going to have to start all that again. I didn't say hello to anyone. All right. Into Osferatu, great to have your comment there. And Eve Pie, hi.
Listening to that drum roll and how long it went on, you might want to check the tension.
The tension?
Yeah.
Tension.
Well... Yeah, no, if you go out at a drum for that long, it...
Hey, there were longer options there. And I'm figuring that everyone has been, since our last couple of episodes, are now listening to our podcast at double time. It wouldn't have been particularly long.
Yeah, there was an episode of The Drum Thing on YouTube recently where, can't remember his name, the guy in charge.
In charge of YouTube?
No, in charge of The Drum Thing. Has a, cheap...
What is The Drum Thing?
It is a YouTube channel.
Right, good. Okay.
Has this cheap, $20 snare drum from Cash Converters.
Great story, bruh.
And is trying out different drum heads on it. And comes to the conclusion that the best possible stress test is to just...
Tension.
And it's not so much the tension on the drum goes out, it's that the drum head just gives out after a certain point. And on some drum heads you can just see the indentation.
Yeah. Oh, look, I just have to think of the various drum sets that I saw in various schools.
Yeah.
That certainly had some brass instruments and woodwind instruments into this house that are a little worse for wear, but I'm certainly glad that none of the school drums ever came home.
Eve Pie continues, this joke was funnier in my head, but I'm workshopping it a bit, and with any luck it will be funnier when read on the show than what I posted the first time before I edited it.
Yeah.
In response to that, Entos Ferratu says, Mike Myers, on the Austin Powers commentary, was talking about gags that are funny, then stop being funny, then go on so long that they are funny again. This was one of those, except that it went on so long that it was funny, stopped being funny, then was funny again, then because I was on a walk and paying attention to other things I tuned out, then was funny again when I realised it stopped.
Wow. So I was actually taking a risk then, assuming that you would play it at double time, and that may have ended up landing on the not funny. Yeah.
And then Eve Pie continues, also, I had forgotten the summary of this week's film until the review started and was totally blindsided by them all being penguins. Or it being animated, either, which led to being a bit confused by the mention of how nice the water looked, too, until it all became clear.
The water?
Yeah, it was reasonably clear water.
Yeah.
When it wasn't in a wave.
No.
When it was in a wave.
Got a bit turbid then. I think that's the word, isn't it?
Yeah.
Turbidity?
Yeah.
Wow. Today's secret word is turbidity.
Looking forward to Galaxy Quest next week.
So am I. Oh, hang on.
Over on Twitter, Angel.
Hi, Angel.
Why did the drum roll go on for so terrifyingly long?
I think we've clarified that. It went, obviously, as long as it was supposed to.
Yeah.
And ended up being funny, apparently.
Also, I have...
And I'm a mongrel.
Also, I have little recollection of Surf's Up, except for the fact that when I was a kid, I was unbelievably afraid of the penguin with the yellow eyebrows.
Wow. Okay. If it's any consolation, I don't like any of the penguins in... what's the dancing one?
Happy Feet?
Oh, I hate that film. Ugh.
But the Australian film industry...
I know. It's very unpatriotic of me, but it's right up there with Rio as far as birds, anthropomorphized birds, irking me.
Okay. And congratulations on being able to respond on Twitter.
Welcome back.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's good.
M, also on Twitter.
Hi, M.
Says 1, I can't even imagine 2 times speed. It is pretty fast.
It is very fast.
And has provided a tomato emoji.
Thank you.
I believe I did ask.
You did?
Yes. Yes, that was a thing that I did.
Yep, there was that, and nobody did suggest what podcast I was thinking about.
No.
YouTube channel, which has a guy who... it's... how's it? I think it's Intexa. Right. A guy who 3D prints rocket nozzles and jets and things like that. Yeah.
And M has also provided a collection of thoughts in the form of a notes screenshot.
Whatever works, and it did. It's actually far easier to read than the Twitter section. Yeah. So, yep. I've
known very little about Surf's Up, and yet I recognise Chicken Joe like an old friend. Just, this is a very, very common, surfer stereotype, isn't it?
Yep. And I think we all know a Chicken Joe too. Yeah.
I'm not strong enough for the pee jokes.
Yeah. There are certain jellyfish in Australia that supposedly that is a treatment for, but it's an old wives' tale and they suggest not.
For some reason, I really enjoyed Mikey the Shorebird. Something about the attitude.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've been Mikey a few times. I've played Mikey in... No, Tree is basically a Mikey, to be honest.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's a job. Oh no, there's a sequel.
Yeah.
Still haven't seen it.
No.
Don't intend to.
No, I think some things are best left.
And the animation and film length is great, and the characters and their designs are good too. I like this movie a lot.
Yeah. Yeah, solid film. And really, I don't think watching it you could identify that it's so old.
Mm-hmm.
It could well have come out last summer. Oh,
Yeah.
hang on. That doesn't translate well for those who are... Recently. It could have come out quite recently.
Yeah.
It was... Yeah.
We're sort of reaching the point where there's diminishing returns on innovation in animation.
Yeah.
Which will bring us up to the guesses.
It will.
Angel has supplied Surf is Up.
SURFISUP. And that's a total of 8 letters.
It is.
So it is certainly a valid guess.
M has provided Surf's Up. SURFSUP.
That's only 7 letters, though.
It is. But it's also correct.
It is. It's just what turned out. I typed in Surf's Up and it didn't need anything after it, so that's what I ran for. So, well done, M, for winning an arbitrary point. And also an arbitrary point for a tomato emoji.
Yep, sure.
Cool.
They're arbitrary.
Yeah.
They're points. What more do you want?
They're not just arbitrary, they're not just points, but they're arbitrary points. Well done, everyone, for contributing. It is certainly made for a good segment.
Yeah. What have you got over there, as far as this episode is concerned?
Oh, that's right, yes. This is what...
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that'll do. Yes.
Good.
Yeah, that's gettable.
That is gettable.
Yeah.
It's eminently gettable. So if you want to try and guess what 8 alphanumeric plus underscore file name for this week's episode, which was Galaxy Quest, how do I fit that into 8 or less? Have a guess.
Or provide any other commentary.
Yeah.
Or provide us with movie suggestions.
Yep.
Or post pictures of dogs.
Yep. Or an alien emoji. We've got a danger of this becoming an emoji segment.
Only one of which will provide arbitrary points, but we're not telling you which.
No. No.
And if you do both, you're not getting it.
And as you got the vibe, there are certainly plenty of places where you can contribute, and links for those will be in the show notes. All right, we shall move on.
Pick a film for next week so we can go to bed.
And, barring any weird twist, it is your turn.
It is my turn, and I have actually selected a film that was mentioned by one of our dear listeners a number of weeks ago, and I slotted it onto my calendar of when I am due to make a suggestion, and I'm going to stick with it. It has remained sort of bubbled to the surface, and so I am going to go for it. I'm going to bring up Disney's plot synopsis for it. And I shall read it to you, if it will let me. Okay, are you ready? Title of film: An Epic Adventure of Hope and Empowerment.
Yep, that's...
Directed by Robert Rodriguez.
Oh, okay. Yep. Yeah. Yeah, I'm picking up what you're putting down.
Okay.
Yeah.
It is still an epic adventure of hope and empowerment.
Oh, yeah.
I've gone into details.
Yeah.
When title character awakens in a future world she does not recognize, she was taken in by a compassionate doctor who realizes that somewhere in this abandoned cyborg shell is the heart and soul of a young woman with an extraordinary past.
So next week we're watching Alita Battle Angel.
We are? You've watched it?
I have not.
See, that's what I thought.
Yeah.
And that's what we're watching.
Yeah, it is.
That works well.
Yeah.
I like it when it's a film that you have not seen. It's good. For those of you who also have not seen it, it is available on Disney Plus, at least in Australia. I'm assuming it's fairly safe to say that it's...
And if it's not, then it would probably be on Hulu, wouldn't
Yeah.
it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Alita Battle Angel next week. We hope that you can join us, but until then, we'll catch you next time.
Bye.
You have been listening to Cellulose Free. Your hosts were Colin, who produces and edits the show, and Thomas, who makes the artwork and music. Cellulose Free is recorded in the Deranged Cat Studios in scenic Tasmania, Australia. We keep track of our extensive physical media collection through My Movies, which we highly recommend. You can find links to that, as well as other places you can find us, in the show notes. Cellulose Free is a Hi Hello production.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah, I'm going to go watch the cycling now.
Yes,
Yeah.
on your bike.
Well.
So you didn't mention in the what have you been up to that you've taken up cycling?
No. No.
He's off to watch Men in Lycra.
Yep.
Yep. All right, go do that.
Yeah,
I'm stopping.
will do.